Hi, this is Kathy from the White Pigeon Library. We've got new books. We've got The Last to Vanish by Megan Miranda. And you may have read All the Missing Girls or The Last House Guest. She also wrote those. This is about a woman who is managing a resort in North Carolina near the Appalachian Trail. And it's sort of notorious because it's the last known location of 6 people who have disappeared. And, you know, the Appalachian Trail does actually have several people who have disappeared on it and some kind of weird murders and women who disappeared from tents. So, you know, it's kind of not based on a true story, but things do happen there. And several of those 6 people disappeared over the last 30 years. And then a journalist comes to investigate it and he disappears. And after several months, she notices that his brother is checking into the hotel, and they both start uncovering evidence that may mean that the locals have got something to do with it. So that sounds like a good mystery. We've got a new book by Daniel Silva. He's one of my favorites. It's number 22 in the Gabriel Allen series, and it's Portrait of an Unknown Woman. Got several people on that have this on reserve, and this looks pretty good. If you've been following this series, he's living in Venice now. He's undercover, sort of, because he's just working as an art historian and an art restorationist. He restores art. And he and his wife and 2 kids are living in Venice. He's not apparently working for the Secret Service of Israel anymore. But the Julian, the art dealer that he knows, gets him involved in a painting that has been rediscovered, and there's some question as to its authenticity. It might be a Van Dyck, it might not be. So Gabriel Allen decides to take it on and see if he can find who this forger is, because if it is a forgery, it's a really good forgery. So in any case, if you like Daniel Silva, which I do, he's got a new one. Then we've got The Horse by Geraldine Brooks. She is a winner of the Pulitzer Prize. She's a good author. And this is a book that weaves 3 strands together. It starts in 1850 with an enslaved groom of a horse who becomes a racehorse and wins all across the South. And there's an artist who is famous for painting his picture, the horse's picture, not the groom's picture. And eventually the Civil War breaks out and the artist joins the Union Army, and at some point he and the horse and the groom reunite, and that's one of the strands. And then it's also set in New York City in 1954, and a gallery owner becomes obsessed with an oil painting of a horse that sounds like or looks like it was made in the mid-1800s, and they're not sure, and they're trying to figure out if it's where it came from or if it's that horse and that artist. And then it's also set in Washington, D.C. in 2019, where a Smithsonian scientist and an art historian are both looking into it. The scientist is analyzing the horse's bones to see what made it such a great racehorse, and the art historian is researching the oil painting that was done. And this is based on a true story about the horse named Lexington. And so that was what inspired this story. Sounds like it might be good. Then we've got Ruth Ware, The It Girl. And it's about friends in Oxford who get together, and one is, of course, the It Girl, and she ends up dead within a year. And so one of the school porters goes to prison for her murder, dies in prison, and then a journalist comes looking around and suggests that perhaps the porter was not guilty. And so her friend, this is 10 years later, starts reuniting with old friends and trying to gather evidence, and it looks like the journalist is right and the man convicted was innocent, and so they try and figure out who may have killed her. That's what we've got for this week. We will see you next week. Thank you.